Okay, I have chat. Okay, hey guys. Sorry about the first stream. I'm not all too sure what's gonna happen in there. I can see chat up on my screen, right over here. Okay, so we are gonna go ahead and bring up the we're gonna go ahead and bring up the deck list right quick. All right. So I gotta wait for all of these to get up in here. Okay, so this is the deck list so far. If you guys don't remember, we are building Sidar Jabrari. It is an Eminence commander. If you guys want to see, the deck list so far, go ahead and go to our last two live streams. We are going to. I don't know how long I'm going to be live today. Last time I had to do two lives because we came down to the time limit on my streaming because I do not have the Ultra. Anyways, one thing before we get started, don't forget to go down in the description below and check out Dubby, which is the sponsor of today's video, as well as multiple videos henceforward. And do not forget to use our code PZ0 in checkout to get 10% off of each item. Alright, so one thing that I wanted to do with the deck is I wanted to lower the cost here. So let's go ahead and go through and look at which ones are expensive. This is a $20 card. Yes, it is pretty good, but we are going to go ahead and remove him from the deck. So we are deck size 88. What? Oh, for some reason it didn't save the islands that I put in here, if I even put islands in. So I'm going to be putting islands in here. Okay, so we're going to remove that. It's still at 54. What else do I have in here that is expensive? Black Market Connections is a $35 card. Alright, remove that. Alright, what else do we got? Alright. We are down to $18 on that one. That is more doable. Chroma's Will is $23, so we are going to remove that. Bring that down to $2. Alright, 24. Is there anything big in here? That is a $6 card, but I feel like that is pretty doable. 15, 34. What's in here that can get taken out? That's, oh yeah, the $28 card. Yeah, no, we're gonna take that out. Oh, accidentally went back to the main screen. Give me a second while I bring up the deck. Alright. Alright, and then we're going to take out Moonshaker Cavalry because it is a 20-something card. Obviously, if you guys have a decent budget, go ahead and leave each one of those cards in. That is perfectly fine. So, yeah, let's go ahead and add to the deck the Islands Island. And we are going to add 11 of these. Alright. That should bring it up to 95. Okay, so with that, we are going to try to find some cheaper alternatives for the deck. Alrighty, so since we are doing knights, since we're doing just knights and nothing all too crazy, sorry, gotta take all of these away. Alright, since we're doing knights and nothing all too crazy, it should be pretty cheap. But there is one guy that I'm trying to think of, so I just searched him on my phone before I... Alright, so we do have him in here. Basari's Lieutenant. And I want to make sure that we have the Marshal in here. If we don't, then that is one of the cards that we can toss in. I believe we do not have. Alright. So one of the cards that we're going to be tossing in is a Human Knight. Marshal. Alright, so this... Oh, we do have it in here. Okay, so I just missed it. Alright, so this is another option. I have a list of options that I was given on my phone, so I am going to be checking out each one of these right now. Black Lance. Peregrine. Alright, so this one here, when it ETBs, target knight will gain Death Touch and Lifelink. So this might not be all too good, but due to the fact that it is only a 2-drop, it is a 3/1 with Flash, as well as we are going to be able to cast things multiple times. We are going to go ahead and add that. Especially because of this guy here. Diabolic Tutor is still only a couple dollars. Profane Tutor is $3, and Wish Claw is like $6. Okay. Alright, so there is one of them that I feel like I thought I added in here, but we are going to instead add it right now. Cabal Paladin. So Cabal Paladin is one of those cards that, as we are setting up with historics, so artifacts and legendaries, it is going to be dealing 2 damage to each opponent, which might not seem all too much, but it does add up decently due to the fact of like all of these cards here are decently low draw artifacts, and so we're gonna go ahead and be doing that. Need to see if we have Executioner Cavalry. So Executioner Cavalry is actually a card that I recently located while building a vampire deck. Okay, so we do have it. Because whenever a knight deals combat damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 counter on that creature and create a blood token. So it will get everything bigger. I'm running low on my list here. Pride, I believe we have this in here, so let's... We do not. Alright, so it says all creatures you control have first strike and double strike. With first strike, have double strike. So our commander here has first strike, so we'll automatically have double strike, and yeah. So since it has to deal damage to a player to return it, if it hits the player, it will deal damage and then deal damage again. So you will get 2 triggers with Sidar. Pretty cool. Last couple of things we have here. Marshal of Safari right here. I knew we had that guy. Alright, I feel like that might be it for that. We did add Wave Knight in here, right? I do not believe so. Alright, so we're at 98. Wave Knight is a must-have in these decks. So, Wave... Nope. Although... Dolian. Dolian Wave Knight. Alright, so whenever you draw a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on each merfolk and each knight you control. I believe, since it says and, merfolk, this merfolk knight will get 2 +1/+1s on it each time you draw a card, since it checks for merfolks and then it checks for knights. So, I believe that is it for, yeah, that is pretty much it for this little list that I have here. So, let's go ahead and, oh, I actually went back. That's fine. Alright, so we are at, alright, the islands don't want to stay in here for some reason. Is land. Stay. Alright, so we're at 99 cards. Alright, so one more card toss in here. We are running an Esper deck. So one card that I can think of would probably be, I actually can't think of the name, but I do know the card exists, and I have it in a deck list. I actually have it in my CEDH deck list, but it is very cheap. It is a sorcery. Or is it? No, it's an instant. The card would be really bad. Okay, it's called Shadow of Doubt. Shadow of Doubt. Alright, so players can't search libraries this turn, and then you draw one card. Alright, so that is a completely legal thing. So let's finally do a test game. Alright, so with, so for those people who have a little bit of issues on deciding when you should mulligan. Mulliganing, if you do not know, is when you shuffle your hand back into your deck and you draw 7 cards again. But if you do this more than once, so you shuffle, you mulligan, you like your hand, you keep all 7. But if you do it one more time, you do have to put a card from your hand onto the bottom of your library. And then if each time you put 2, then 3, then so on and so forth. So usually you don't want to mulligan more than you need to. This here, we have a decent black spell, but we have no black mana. We have a decent blue spell, but we have only 2 mana, and a decent white spell, but again, only 2 mana. So we are going to mulligan. Alright, we have 3 mana here, and a decent card. So we are actually going to keep this. Okay, so pretty much how I practice is I always say, like, okay, I'm going first. So I draw 1 card, and then we are going to automatically toss this swamp onto the field. So the reason why we're doing a swamp is because of Oathsworn here. We want to get this out on the board as soon as possible. Oops, sorry about that. I want to see, can I... Oh. I wanted to see if I was able to just view it. Yep. Alright, so whenever it deals combat damage to a player, if it has fewer than 4 +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then if it has exactly 4, you search your library for a card, put it in your hand. So it starts becoming an every turn tutor. Alright, so... Alright, so since we have 7 cards in our hand, we can go on to the next turn. So everybody's going to play a land, and then we are going to draw. Alright, so we're going to play an island, so because that is all we are obtaining at the moment. We are going to tap 2, and we are going to go ahead and toss on the board Oathsworn. Because as soon as... So, Pillar of Origins is also a really good card to put on the board. It is a 2-mana drop, choose a creature type, add a mana of any color, use it to only cast that creature type. And that will be able to cover the fact that we haven't drawn a white yet, but for the moment, we want Oath Swarm out on the board. So we're going to get that on the board first. It does not come in with haste, but it does have menace, so it will be easier to smack people. But we are going to go ahead and go into our next turn to untap and draw. We did draw an Arcane Signet, so that is pretty good. We're going to toss another Swamp out on the board. I'm going to move this island over here. Alright. And then, let's say we're playing a casual level game right now, since you are spending a little bit of money. Or you are spending not that much money, so we're going to swing at whoever doesn't currently have a creature, or whoever doesn't have the ability to block a menace. And we are going to add a +1/+1 counter onto it. So this is now a 3/3. So it does get a little bigger. And then we are going to choose to tap 2 and play Pillar of Origins. Actually, we are going to do this a little differently. We're going to tap 2. We're going to cast Arcane Signet first. Then we're going to tap Arcane Signet and the Swamp to get Pillar of Origins. So we can get 2 mana rocks out on the board that each will cover our lack of white. Alright, and then we're going to go to our next turn. Alright, so we are currently on turn 4. Still haven't drawn a white mana, but that's fine. We're going to play an island. We have Chart of Course in our hand. But right now, I feel like... Oh, I did forget the Sidar trigger since a knight attacked. So do keep in mind of the Sidar trigger. But we are going to go ahead and tap 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to cast Sidar. So now we can remember that it's on board. So if we're going to view the details, whenever you attack with one or more knights, if it's in the command zone or on the battlefield, you get to draw 1 card and discard a card. So the reason why that's so good is we're going to want to discard our high mana costing knights so we can use Sidar's ability. Do keep in mind Sidar does have flying. No idea as to why. I think he's riding a griffin or something, but, you know, to each their own. We're going to attack with Oath Swarm, triggering Sidar. So we're going to go ahead and toss this knight into the graveyard. Hopefully smack somebody for a damage and put a +1/+1 counter onto it. Alright, so we're going to toss that into the graveyard after drawing 1 card. Okay, and then we're going to main 2. Tap 2 and play the card that we just drew, Talisman of Progress. Alright, so we again have white. So we now have 3 sources of white without ever playing a white land, which is pretty good. Alright, so we're going to untap. Let me go ahead and check YouTube right quick. Hey Ash, how you doing? We are currently playing with Sidar. Jabari. As I have seen that you have been told. Alright. Okay, so we are going to be going into our next turn here and drawing for turn. Alright, what is this? This is untap it, destroy target creature or enchantment. So we are going to want to put that on board, but we are going to discard it first. Alright, so we're going to attack with Sidar and we're going to attack with Oath Swarm. On trigger, we are going to draw a card and then discard 1 card. And then hopefully we will smack someone. So usually you will be able to get Sidar to hit someone. It is a 4/4 flyer. Or it is 4/5? It's a 4/3. It's a 4/3. It's a 4/3 flyer. Which already gets over cards like Kaalia and not a lot of dragons, but hey. So Sidar is going to smack someone. And we are going to throw the card that we just tossed in the graveyard onto the battlefield. So what this does, if you didn't read it before, is we can pay 1, a white and a black, tap it, destroy target creature or enchantment. So we now have creature removal out on the board. But it does not have haste, so it's going to just sit there and be a pretty 4/4 flyer. Alright. So we're going to go to our untap. And we are going to draw. Alright, so we did just get a Soul Ring, so we're going to tap Arcane Signet. Actually, we're going to tap one of the islands since Arcane Signet's one of our only sources of white mana. And we are going to cast Sol Ring. Sol Ring is a very generic card. If you don't know what it is, then you clearly haven't played Magic in quite a while. Or ever, because I think this has been out since base set. Pay 1 mana, add artifact, tap, add 2 colorless. Alright. We are going to go ahead and cast the Chart a Course. So we are going to Talisman of Progress and tap Sol Ring. We will take 1 damage from this, since we are tapping Talisman for 1. And we're going to cast Chart a Course. So what Chart a Course does is we're going to draw 2 cards and then discard 1 card unless we attack with a creature this turn. But we do want to discard those cards. So we are going to choose to discard Cavalier of Dawn. It's an elemental knight. Alright. So let's go ahead and smack some things. We're going to smack with both Sidar and Oathsworn. Trigger Sidar to draw 1 card and then discard a card. So we are going to discard the only other knight that we have. And then we are going to put onto the board Cavalier of Dawn. Move to battlefield. Alright, so when this ETBs, you can destroy up to 1 non-land permanent, and then its controller will make a 3/3 golem. If it dies, return an artifact or enchantment from your graveyard back to the hand. So that is pretty good. Plus it's a 4/6 with vigilance. Then we're gonna toss a +1/+1 counter on here, and we are going to tutor our deck for any card. So what card would we like to get? I already know what we're going to be searching for, so let me find it. There it is. Wave Knight. Add the card to our hand. So, this is going to be getting us pretty big. Alright, so let's go ahead and get it out on the board. We're going to tap this for white. Tap, tap, and tap for Wave Knight. Every single time we're drawing a card, let's organize this a little better. Every time we draw 1 card, we are going to be putting a +1/+1 counter on each knight and each merfolk. So, let's go ahead and pass the turn and go back to us. This is also only working because obviously we don't have anybody casting removal spells and stuff like that, or board wipes or anything like that. So do keep in mind that stuff like that does happen. There is no guarantee that your cards are going to be staying on the board as long as mine are in this video. Okay, so we are going to draw for turn. Trigger Wave Knight. Each other. Okay, sorry. So Wave Knight will not be putting a +1/+1 counter on himself, but we are going to be tossing a +1/+1 counter on each other thing. I do need to read Oathsworn. If it has exactly 4 counters on it. Okay. Alright, so Oathsworn will not be tutoring for us anymore, but we will still have a pretty big dude. Oh, this is not what I want. This is what I want. Alright. And then we will... Alright, we're going to tap 1 and cast Personal Tutor. So we are going to search our library for, I believe, an instant. For a sorcery, and put it on top. Alright, so search library for a sorcery. We're going to want to find a sorcery that lets us draw a decent amount of cards. So we are going to search for... Move to battlefield. We're going to search for Distant Melody. So first we're going to toss this in the graveyard. Then we will shuffle our deck. And then move to top of library. Alright, so that's on top of the deck now. We're going to attack with Sidar. And let's say the Cavalier of Dawn. This has Vigilance. We're going to trigger it to draw 1 card and then discard a card, triggering our Wave Knight. So we're going to go ahead and discard this. So everything will be a little stronger. So this right here will be 4, 5, 6, 10, 12. It'll be 12 damage. Do keep in mind that in order to kill somebody with your commander, you can only do 21 damage with your commander, and then they will automatically lose, no matter what their health is at. So, we're going to go to our main 2. We did smack somebody with Sidar, so we will be looking in the graveyard, and we will put the Marshal on the board. So the reason why we're going to put the Marshal on the board is because each of our each of our creatures will get +1/+1. So everything is a little stronger. Then we will be tapping... Oh, I never untapped these. Untap 1, 2, 3, 4, and play Distant Melody. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Triggering Wave Knight 6 times, putting 6 +1/+1 counters on each thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And once again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our Oathsworn alone is now a 14/14. 6. Alright. Our commander, though, is a 12/12. So, we have 2 mana, so let's go ahead and... Alright, we technically have 3, but we only have... Or we have 4, sorry, I keep forgetting about this. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, we will cast a Wind Grace. I did have to tap that for colored, so we will take 1 damage. And then we will pass the turn, having to discard at least 1 card. So we will discard a Knight. Yeah, let's go ahead and discard this guy. Alright. So we are going to untap. And then we are going to draw, triggering our Wave Knight again. Alright, so you pretty much see how this deck works. We're not going to go through the whole thing, obviously, since we don't have any opponents. But we do have another draw spell in our hand that discards, and we have another thing in our graveyard. So yeah, this is pretty much how the deck works. There is another card that you can pick up, and I'm trying to think of how much it is. So let's go ahead and Diplomatic Immunity. So Diplomatic Immunity is a pretty good card, and it is only $1.29. So we're going to try to put this in the deck right now. Enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or abilities, as well as this cannot be the target of spells or abilities. So essentially, it has Shroud, and so does the enchanted creature. So we're going to toss that into the deck. It is going to say there is an error because we do have 101 cards now. But we are going to go ahead and take out this invasion card. I'm not a big fan of any invasion cards, to be personally honest. If you'd like to keep this in here, go ahead. If not, just do what I do. Okay, so one big thing that we did not get to see, and one thing that you can tutor for, is the Herald of Hoofbeats. So this will almost guarantee the fact that each of your knights will be smacking. Because other knights you control have horsemanship, which, if you do not know, horsemanship can only be blocked by other horsemanship. And, well, not a lot of people play horsemanship. In fact, earlier today, I just sold my Sun Quan. Which gives all of my creatures horsemanships. Why is the tutor's $47? What brings it up that far? Right, Enlightened Tutor is now $20. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove Enlightened Tutor. There is... the deck is still 136, but do keep in mind you can get 99% of these cards by simply buying the pre-con. I'm trying to think of another card that we can toss into this deck. Well, a deck wouldn't technically be complete without at least a little bit of kill spells. So let's go ahead and add Let's just add murder. Yep, right here. You can get this out of a lot of different sets, so if you don't feel all too worried about trying to locate that. But yeah, just destroy target creature 3 mana. So yeah, that is going to be that. Sorry, just checking chat right quick. All right. Alright, so now that we have that done, we are going to be talking about more expensive upgrades that you can do to the deck. So expensive upgrades would include cards like Bolas's Citadel. So it is only a $6 card right now, but depends on which version you get. So it is a 6 mana cost legendary artifact. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play with the top of your. You may cast cards off the top of your library by paying life. The last ability is you can tap it, sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. You aren't really going to be using that effect. But this is a really good card to be putting in any deck, especially with... just one moment. I'm going to be... Alright, sorry about that. I had Nova Bullet. I don't know who that is. But yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so Bullet Citadel with Sensei's Divining Top. Okay, so Sensei's Divining Top, it's a way to draw your whole deck with Bullet Citadel, because you will be tapping, drawing one card, putting it on the top, and then paying 1 life in order to cast Sensei's Divining Top. Obviously, you do have a limit on how much life you have, but with a card like Angel's Grace, you can't lose the game for the turn, and your opponents can't win the game. To the end of the turn, anytime your life would be reduced less to 1, it would go back up to 1. What happens is you can pay 40 life in order to cast Sensei's Divining Top 40 times, draw 40 cards, and go down to 0. Then, with Angel's Grace, it will bounce you back up to 1, and then you will pay 1 to recast it, pay 1 again, and you can do this infinitely. And then you might be wondering, after having your whole deck in your hand, what are you going to do? Well, there is Thassa's Oracle. You cast it, you got no cards in your deck, you win. So, these are more expensive options for the deck. Obviously, if you would like some win cons other than just attacking, there is another card that you can add in here too, since you do run black. But yeah, so that is going to be essentially the Sidar deck. I do apologize about the little buffer in there. Platinum Angel is a pretty good card, but Platinum Angel is kind of that is an angel. We're mainly trying to be focusing around knights and stuff like that. Can't really do Sidar's ability with a Platinum Angel. Aetherflux Reservoir is a pretty good card, especially if you're going to be running Bullet Citadel and Sensei's Divining Top. That is fair. You can have as much Storm as you'd like. And afterwards, Aetherflux Reservoir. Here, let's go ahead and bring Aetherflux up. Aetherflux. So Aetherflux, you can pay 50 life and deal 50 damage to any target creature or player. So it is a pretty good card, as well as you will be gaining 1 life for each spell you've casted this turn. So first time you'll gain 1, then you'll gain 2, then 3, then 4. It is a pretty good card. So any other comments, questions, concerns, anything that we should look at before I wrap up the video here? I know it's going to take a little bit for it to catch up. So other than that, once again, since we have some viewers that weren't in when I first started stream, our sponsor is down below in the description. It's called Dubby. Go ahead and just go to there. It's like an energy drink type things, like powdered, and try that out. It is pretty expensive, but you can do it a little cheaper by using our discount code PZ0 to get 10% off of each item. Other than that, I want to thank everybody for showing up. Go ahead and send the video to your friends who might think that they might like it. And I will be seeing you guys later. Today is only going to be a 44-minute stream, and I'm only going to be doing one. But the next video, we should be doing a brand new deck. So if you guys want to put down below in the description, or if you know me personally, just message me about what type of deck that we should be doing.